Hi, I'm Rebecca Vieira. Some of you might know me, but in person, some of you don't. I'm actually a Cary Grove High School physics teacher, and I'm currently on professional leave. I'm now placed in Washington, D.C. on a fellowship for the year. So I thought I'd take this opportunity just to introduce myself, but also to give you an overview of the course. So the first thing I'd like to do is to take you to Google Classroom as you probably see it. So here we go. All right, so here's how you probably are seeing Google Classroom right now with your own personal login. I'm currently logged in as a student as CG Test 1. As a teacher, it looks a little bit different. If you'd like to go ahead and explore that, you are certainly welcome to create your own classes, just on the side to check things out, because this is really a good platform for working with groups of students especially. So the first thing I'd like to do is just to introduce you to some of the aspects of Google Classroom that we'll be using, and just so that it makes your experience a little bit easier learning about Google Apps. And I am going to try my best to keep in mind that some of you, in fact, are classroom teachers, and a good portion of you are not. A lot of you may spend your time in more informal settings with students, or even spend a lot of time working with other adults in the building. No matter what you happen to do in your career and your position, I'm hoping that an overview of 5 units, 5 major points of study, are going to help you to increase your own personal efficiency and your ability to communicate with others, as well as, if you're a teacher in particular, to help you to help your students learn more efficiently. So here we go. The first thing that most of you have already done for me, and thank you very much for doing that, is a pre-survey. Anytime there is something added to this stream of information, you will notice that it is either an assignment or an announcement. Assignments do have a due date. Those are pretty clear to you. And I try my best to make those instructions as clear as possible. If you happen to be confused by something, I would suggest take a little bit of time doing a Google search, just double checking to make sure you've looked over all the training materials and resources. But if you have a question, do not hesitate to drop me an email. I'll show you where my email is on Google Classroom in a minute. Within the dotted lines, you will see for any assignment very explicitly what you have to do in order to get the assignment done. So most of you already did this pre-survey, and hopefully you've all already taken a look at the resource videos I provided, as well as the overall learning targets. Keep in mind that Google tools have got a lot of different functionalities. We're not going to cover all of them, so take your time. Basically be patient with yourself, because there's a lot more here than we're going to focus on. Don't get distracted, but at the same time, don't, if you're interested in something, incorporate it, try it out. You can't break the internet, you can't break Google. All right, and sometimes you'll also notice there is a comment function. Sometimes I will ask you to comment at the bottom of an announcement or at the bottom of an assignment. Sometimes I'll post things too. As an example, I took a look at our results from the pre-survey, just to see where we are in terms of comfort level, and this is where we currently stand. Gmail, I think a lot of us feel very comfortable with, so I'm hoping to show you some new functionalities or things that maybe will be new to you anyway. This also gives us an overview of the course. This course lasts 6 weeks and has 5 units in it. The first unit is about Gmail, but that also includes Google Hangouts. It also will include contacts and tasks. So that's our first unit. Our second week is all going to be about Google Calendar. And within that, it's not just about figuring out how to make your calendar or how to make multiple calendars, but how to share them, how to import them, and also how to make and host events. The third week has a lot of things in it. It's got Drive, but that includes docs, slides, sheets, and forms. So we'll learn a little bit about each of those. The fourth week is about Google Sites, which is basically a simple way to create your own website, but it includes a lot of things like widgets and scripts and all that. And then the last week, you can choose between Chrome browsers and the Chrome store or Chromebooks, whatever is most appropriate to you. And I don't think I've got anybody in here who works with tablets, but if you are interested in tablets, please let me know. And overall, although we're not focusing on it explicitly, I hope to give you some experience with Google Classroom so that you might consider using that with your own students or in your own settings. All right, back to the class. So our first unit is all about Gmail. And you'll notice that the stream, it always starts at the bottom. It's just like a blog. And so I'm going to go up to, we have an announcement here. That's our first post after our welcome and pre-survey. On our announcement, there are two things I need you to know about. The first link is our Google Apps training site. This is a site you are welcome to simply browse on your own, but every unit I will give you a set of tasks. In this first unit, we are looking at Gmail. And now you'll notice that there are also 3 options for Gmail: Introduction, Basics, and Advanced. In this course, we're going to be looking at the advanced features because, quite honestly, a lot of the introduction and basics will focus on things such as, how do I send an email? How do I get an account? How do I send an attachment? Things that I'm pretty sure most of you are pretty familiar with. Even so, don't hesitate to go back to them in case there's something that maybe you didn't know. So if you click on Advanced, you'll see that there are multiple lessons, 10 lessons in particular, and they give you some specific time guidelines. Keep in mind that this course is like any other traditional graduate level course, so we will expect about 12 to 15 hours, and that really varies per person, per each person's comfort level. This being said, as you go through, there will be a little bit of text followed by some very helpful videos. I highly suggest, if you have a second computer or if you're just able to open up another window, play along with your own Gmail account as you watch the videos so that you can really get comfortable with some of the features. Most of this is very workable on your own. And I'll ask you to do this and then to basically demonstrate your understanding through collaboration with your classmates, as well as turning in some assignments which will be assessed. And then I'll give you some feedback on that, and so will your colleagues. The other thing you should know about is our Google Calendar. You may or may not already be using Google Calendar. You can simply click on this link whenever you want to look at it, but you can also click this plus Google Calendar right here and add that to your own if you're already using Google Calendar. And just a few things to point out. This is the day of our starting of our course, but every week throughout this course there are 2 optional hangouts with me. Now these times are showing up on Eastern time, which is for me, so for you this would be Wednesday 7 a.m. This would be Friday at 3 p.m. I will be on Google Hangouts. I will be totally accessible to you during those times in case you have any questions, need any direct assistance, and sometimes you will even have the option to complete assignments in those Hangouts. In order to join a Hangout, you simply click on it. You can go into My Details if it doesn't already open, and you could simply join the meeting. But you have to be there at the appropriate time, of course. So that's always an option for you. All right, now to the 5 assignments. We are typically going to have about 5 assignments per unit, and it sounds like a lot, but I'm really just taking the 1 or 2 assignments that we had last semester in this course, and I'm simply breaking it up to make it a little bit easier for you. The first thing, and this is the only time we're going to really need this, is you need to have a Gmail account. You are all going to be switched over to the Gmail email interface, I believe, at District 155, I think this summer. So it's good to get familiar with it now. So at this point, if you are currently using Outlook, either on the web or on your PC, please make sure that you either have a personal Gmail account or that you create one for this course. It's totally your call. But I'll need you to add that to, so this is how you would create it if you don't know how, but you're going to need to add that to the Gmail roster and make sure that you're logging in with the appropriate account. And please list yours, because for this first unit only, you do need to be working with the Gmail interface so that you can use a lot of the functions that it has. So that's the first assignment. Pretty easy. One thing you do need to know is most of your assignments, well, they won't have anything listed on them. They'll tell you the date that they're due, but it won't say that they're done until you actually list that it's done, like this one right here. This is helpful for you more than anything to help you keep track of what you have and haven't completed. But here's the funny thing. When you submit something through here, if you need to add a file or add a link, you can add it by doing this, a link, a file, or a Google Drive, or you can even create from within Google Classroom. But sometimes I might ask you to send me an email or to, as you saw, just a moment ago, I might need you just to upload or insert something into a text box on an Excel file, let's say, or on a Google Sheet. In that case, it's not going to know that you're done. So you can go ahead and click Mark as done, and then it'll be done. Okay, so I will remind you to do that as necessary, just for your own personal records. With that, I think that I've covered everything that's really important. Please just read the instructions and follow through. I will ask, please try to complete all of the unit assignments by the following Monday of that week, because it helps us to stay in track with each other. Because although this is an online course, it is collaborative. And so there are certain things that you sort of have to do, not quite lock in step with each other, but it does help if we're all fairly close on the same page so that we can learn together. There'll be opportunities for differentiation, which you'll see here. So sometimes you'll get a variety of alternatives for completing an assignment so that it meets your needs more than anything else. The one and only last thing I'm going to mention to you is please make sure that you are careful about who you're logged in as. Because for this first unit, you will be working with your personal Gmail address if you haven't already switched over within the district. When you type in Gmail, for example, or if you're trying to open up a file, make sure that your avatar displays who you actually want in order to open up your assignment. If you click over here, you'll see what accounts you might have, or you might even have your family's accounts. And if you make that switch, then you'll be able to see whatever is going on inside of that account. That's particularly important when I give you permissions, which is explicitly for people who are in D155, because if you're in your personal account and you're trying to get on to look at a file within a professional domain, you need to make sure that you're within that professional domain, otherwise you won't have access to that. So with that, I'll let you go. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to visit me either at the optional Hangouts on Wednesdays and Fridays throughout the duration of this course, or drop me an email at rviera@d155.org. All right, have fun, and I hope that you learn a lot.